Hello and welcome. You're watching My 11th Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. I'm Gaurav Kapur here in Mumbai. It is Saturday. It's the weekend, which means we got double action. We got double trouble coming up today, brother. That's right. 2 for the price of 1. It's not like you guys have paid anything. So honestly, it's 2 for the price of 0. I've got 2 for a lot more than the price of 0. I'll tell you that. We have got the Ace Boy Band from the continent of Africa. I got Pommie and Polly. Hit it.
Here comes the hard stepper.
I said boy band, and you went back 25 years, so that's the nearest song you could remember. It's 25 years ago.
That was when I was a boy.
That's when you were a youth. Yes. Pommie Mbangwa and, of course, Shaun Pollock joining us from different parts of the planet. We've got Pommie, of course, in the UAE. We've got Polly in Durban. And we're bringing you the show all over the world, wherever you're sitting, because we've got 2 out-of-the-world games happening today. The first one, whoa, I'm looking forward to this. It's Kolkata v Delhi in Abu Dhabi. It's the team which is living in Abu Dhabi, which is Kolkata. And then, of course, is Delhi, the challengers, Punjab and Hyderabad. 2 teams that are wanting to go to the 4th position. Yes, there's a tussle. There's 3 teams today that are playing, that are all going to be in a vice-like grip with each other, like snakes and mongooses. Mongoose? It's going to be fight to the death, yes, Pommie, with these 3 teams, Punjab, Hyderabad. I'm so excited. I've come back.
I'm more
2 days off.
interested in this. I'm more interested in the snake and the mongoose.
Yeah, is it? What's the plural of mongoose?
It's mongooses or mongeese. I think you can do both. Well, let's go to Shaun. He likes these. Come on, Shaun.
Come on.
Let's hear you.
Lob the ball to the guy at the inside centre who just gets nailed by the other guy. I think it's just a multitude of mongoose.
We've got 3 answers.
I've got a better one. A collection of mongooses. It's called a Monsieur Mongooses, right? Monsieur Mongooses. Monsieur the Mongoose. Let me ask you a simpler question then, Polly. I'll ask you a simpler question.
Yes.
Which of these 3 teams featuring today is going to take the 4th spot?
I'm tending to think Punjab. I somehow think they're more settled. If Kane Williamson comes back, in this game.
Points table, please. Carry on, please, Polly.
Yeah, in this game we've got coming up. I think mentally, at this stage of the tournament, as a team, as a unit, you start to set yourselves goals. Kolkata, I think, for them, they are very jumbled about what they think their possible 11 is, where they possibly can go in the tournament. And I think for them, almost what's become a area of focus is, can we qualify for the knockouts? And I think in many ways, it's a dangerous place to get to, because in your team selection, everything you do, you've actually got to rather be looking at it for these last 4 games, plus the knockouts. What team can we pick that can win us the tournament? And I think that needs to dictate where their selection goes. They can't be just trying to fill the gaps in order to get over the line, in order to get to the playoffs and then hope for the best. Whereas you've got Delhi Capitals who are thinking, when we get into the playoffs, let's make sure we're in the top 2 to give ourselves the best chance of winning this tournament. And that mindset, I know it might seem a bit obvious or whatever, but it plays a massive part in your team vibe, your structure, all your decision-making that you make. And I think also Delhi Capitals, the key for them is that they have made some changes. They've given guys opportunities in their squad as well, which haven't really worked out for them. And that's also a nice position to be in, because you can sometimes look around and think, well, maybe we give him a go, or maybe we give him a go. But they've given, like Ajinkya Rahane has had his chance, hasn't really shown anything at the top of the order. They've had a couple of injuries where they've brought guys in. And the one area of concern for me a few weeks back was Shikhar Dhawan. Will he find his form? Will they stick with him for long enough? And they've done that, and he's come good. So I think they're in a good space. And I think they are really, and under the leadership of Ricky, he's the kind of guy who's going to be, listen, we need to nail this. We need to get into that top spot. We need to keep our focus. Whereas Kolkata are actually looking around thinking, what's our best 11? What do we do to possibly compete? And how can we recover from not a big score in the last game?
This is a very good point you make, Polly, that there seems to be a bit of a scramble in the latter half of the tournament for Kolkata. And if I just stay for a second with Polly's favorite, scenarios.com. Pommie, I'll come to you here. Scenarios.com. He loves that. But there is a distinct difference that Punjab looked scrambled in the first half of the tournament, and they seem to have settled now. Whereas, strangely, Kolkata looked settled in the first half of the tournament and kind of looking scrambled now.
Yeah, and to take it further in the comparison of the two sides with what has been going on, in the first half of the tournament, Punjab were playing decent cricket. Those two guys at the top of the order were getting runs, and their opening bowlers were getting wickets. And they still somehow would contrive to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, right? That's what they did a couple of times, somehow end up in a super over, in a game they've dominated, end up 2 runs short. Against who? Yeah. And when you look at Kolkata, you've been going, oh, how have they won that? Oh, how have they won that? Goodness. And there must be 3 games at least where you're going, they haven't played very well at all, and they've somehow managed to get on the other side of that. So they've pulled a rabbit out of a hat.
Luckybreaks.com.
Yeah, luckybreaks.com. And in talking about sorting things out, you would have thought that it would be the other way around. And by that I mean, if you've played the best game you can, or clearly not the best if you're Punjab and you're losing, but if you've played relatively good games and you've come off second best quite a few times, you expect what would happen then is that there'd just be a slide all the way downhill because you're clutching for answers. But that's turned around for Kings 11 Punjab. They've somehow managed to settle. If you haven't played so well and have got victories, you think that would kind of bore you and ensure then that, when you start playing better to potential, then you will start getting points anyway, and you'd be okay, and you'd be somewhere up the table because you got this head start when things weren't going well. It hasn't been so. In fact, the minds have got further and further cluttered for Kolkata. They've lost players. They don't know who their best 11 are. The guys they've gone with have been injured, called for suspect action, blah, 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 all sorts of things. So now they're even further jumbled. So, yeah, it's a worried camp, I think.
There is one game which is very important. If you look at the games that these 3 teams we're talking about Punjab, Hyderabad and Kolkata. We're just taking a given that Mumbai, Delhi and Bangalore have taken the 3 spots. And I guess not too many who can argue about that. There is the game that they play against each other, right? Which is game 12 for both of them, is the game they play each other. Polly, that's the swing. That's the swing state right there, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on current form, you would think Kolkata would probably go down today to Delhi. But then, and if Punjab win, they both sit on 10 points. I know Punjab's net run rate's pretty good because, as Pommie mentioned, they've had so many of those close encounters that when they've lost, it hasn't done too much damage. But it'll be a massive game, whether you want to call it a quarterfinal kind of game. But it'll have a massive impact on that table. And as Pom said, also the close games, you start to feel that things are starting to run for you. And with a bit of a play on words, maybe they're just feeling that the universe or boss is starting to move in the right direction or getting them in the right direction. The universe is starting to work for them.
It is. When you look at it, that's such a good point to make about the net run rate, because as you can see, Punjab is way ahead of Kolkata. Kolkata has 2 more points than them, of course, but they're way ahead. And I'm just thinking, I don't know if Kolkata fans can handle the heartbreak 2 years in a row of their team coming 5th and missing out on net run rate. Probably that's a lot.
It would be a disaster. But I think this is I've talked about it on other shows. This is when you start watching the games as the other opposition. Yeah. And you start thinking, oh, if only this one could get rained out.
That's not happening. That's not happening.
And now it's all ends in the car, but now the super overs have put pay to that. So net run rate is huge because there's a good chance that it's not going to be rain effect. It's not going to be a windstorm coming through in Abu Dhabi or Dubai.
Good. Pommie, could you just look out the window and just let us know if you see a cloud, maybe half a cloud, I guess. Polly, why are you looking? You're in Durban.
I'm seeing if there's any good weather that's heading that way.
Okay, all the way. All the way up the continent of Africa. just push them in that direction.
I'll tell you what I can do. Let me just close my eyes and remember what yesterday looked like. No class.
Yeah, just all more of same, more of same. So that's not going to
More of the
happen.
same.
That's not going to happen. So Kolkata's best bet is, let's not get into this net run rate tussle. We've got a 2-point lead over our competitors. Let's try to push that. I'll tell you that Hyderabad is definitely, Hyderabad and Punjab are rooting for Delhi today. That's clear, right? Because Kolkata can go up till 18 points. Punjab and Hyderabad can only go to a max of 16, right? Normally, a 16 should be good enough to do it, but you have to see that the three, on top, there's Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore are looking like they're just going to tear away, right? They look like they're going to get 18, 20, 22, perhaps, dare I say. Delhi does not want to get those many wins, though, because you know what happened to them in 2009, top of the table.
Although I was actually talking about this in the car. The fact that in 2009, and it was Adam Gilchrist, wasn't it, for Deccan Chargers, then called, right?
Yeah.
And Delhi Devils, then called.
Correct.
And Virender Sehwag, who scythed everyone to all parts through the tournament. And they turned up at Supersport Park, it was actually in Centurion.
Gilly.
And
Gilly.
Gilly smoked them. And they had just scraped into fourth place, literally scraped.
Yeah.
They scraped into fourth. And since then, it's been changed because that was one plays 4 and 2 plays 3, and 4 won the whole thing. So now 4 can still win the whole thing, but good luck to you to win those 3 games in a row if you end up 4th and have to play that one, the qualifier 2, and the final.
You're so right, Pommie. You make such a point because in the last years of playoffs, so it's been 9 or 10 years of playoffs, there's only been twice. So 7 instances, 1 and 2 have played the final.
Yeah.
7 instances.
It goes down to the mindset. I mean, we had a fantastic talk at one time from Mike Horn, who talked about he had to do, I think, 6 or 7 mountains in one space of time. Yeah. And his mindset was to get to the end of the 6th mountain. So when he got to the top of the first one, it wasn't like he'd achieved. He knew that it was a process. And sometimes when it gets down to this stage of the tournament, you think if we can just make the playoffs, then you never know. But the other teams are thinking, no, when we get into 1st and 2nd and we make the final, let's win it. And that mindset can have I know it sounds subtle, but it can have a massive impact on all the thinking that goes around the camp.
Yeah, to go with the same theme, peaking, right? That's what it is, isn't it? It's about peaking. So have you peaked when you get to base camp, or are you actually looking at the top of Everest? That's essentially the question. And what happens in this scenario where we're saying who's going to get 4th is everyone who is fighting for that spot makes that mistake of being bogged down to, number 4, our net run rate, this, what about, is so-and-so fit? And then they get into 4th and then prick the balloon, game over.
But peak, let me tell you that peak in Hindi means shikhar. And Shikhar is peaking for sure, yes. And on the other side, Prithvi means the ground. And today there's no ground underneath the feet of Delhi because between ground and peak, they've kept the peak. They don't have the ground no more. There's no Prithvi. They won the toss, of course, and decided to bowl first. And they made 2 changes. Nokia comes back in and Sams is out. And of course, Polly and Pommie are very happy about that because you have Nokia Rabada there, the South African pace twins at the top. Starting for Delhi. And of course, when it comes to their batting, they will have Ajinkya Rahane, who is replacing Prithvi Shaw. Prithvi Shaw, of course, he's had a bit of a phone number run of scores, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's had a bit of disappointment, hasn't he? He started the tournament well and set a good tone. And I remember doing some interviews with Ricky where he felt like we hadn't seen the best of him and that he was going to come really good. But since then, it's been a little bit of a disaster. And I think for Ajinkya Rahane, I think he'll be relieved because when he's been given his opportunity, it's been in the middle order. And that's not really his game. He's the kind of guy who likes to go up front, set himself by just knocking the ball through the gaps and playing normal cricket shots, finding boundaries because of the power play. And then he can come into his own. So I'm happy that they're giving him an opportunity. He'll be desperate to get a score and see if he can stay to claim for the back end of the tournament. But Nokia coming back in, it's just such a very settled unit. As we mentioned, they've tried different combinations. The overseas pros that have come in and had a game. So if any injury comes about, it's good. They've had a little bit of cricket under their belts. but it's a settled unit, and there's no one in the camp that's sitting there thinking, oh, maybe I should get a go, or maybe I should take his place. The 11 that you pick almost picks itself, but for maybe a Jinky Rana at the top in place of Shaw, and we'll see how that goes today.
What is great, of course, the secret sauce of Delhi's success has been they've had a different man of the match in every win that they've had. In fact, I think Shikhar was the man of the match, even though they lost that previous game, wasn't he? I think he was. But the thing is, none of them is Rabada, and Rabada is he's your purple cap holder. But I like the fact, because everyone's just taking Rabada's 2 wickets for granted now. They're just like, he's just gonna give us 2. That's fine. He'll give us 2.
How many games in consecutive wickets in consecutive games? 20 something?
23, I think it is.
Yeah.
23. I might be 24, but yeah.
It's just insanity. But anyway, is he in your team today? All of you sitting at home, make your My 11 Circle team. You have to go to the website, of course, and download the app. We have 2 games today. The first one, of course, is Delhi and Kolkata. Pick your 11 players, mix and match, and then see if you can try and beat Dada. Can you? Let's have a look at the Kolkata team. We've been talking a lot about their selection. Sunil Narayan is back. There is, of course, it's cleared. The warning has gone away. He's off the suspicious action list, and he comes back. Tom Banton makes way for him. There is no Andre Russell, of course, because he's injured, which allows both Pat Cummins and Lockie Ferguson to play. And Nagar Koti comes in place of Kuldeep Yadav. So it's a Indian spinner, foreign pacer, and a batsman making way for a spinner. You're right, Pommie. There's just it's scrambled, right?
Yeah. So the reason I think this is a bit hectic is like I sit there wondering, you pick Narayan, you want him to bat at the top. Who is he facing? You've got to think of that. Who is he facing? Who is he facing up against? Who are these people that he's going to try and smash out the ground? Because that's what he's supposed to do up at the top, right? Unless they're saying we're picking him and we're picking him for his bowling, we think that, which also wouldn't really make too much sense because the batting has been falling apart. So, yeah, look, as I said, jumbled thoughts and
but does Tripathi not open with Gill then?
I hope he does. Yeah. Because that's where I think he should be batting. And maybe it's a case of, Narayan comes back, we're no longer going to open with him and he'll bat at 7, right? Maybe so. But I don't know. It just seems jumbled minds.
Because otherwise he plays at 6 for me. Otherwise, Sunil Narayan plays at 6. Have a look again at that lineup. If you open with Tripathi and Gill, you've got Rana at 3, Morgan 4, Dinesh Karthik 5. And then there's Sunil Narayan at 6 and Pat Cummins straight after that. That's, I don't know. See, Sunil Narayan is a bonus at the top, right? I don't know if am I being unfair if I say I don't see him as a number 6 batsman?
You're not. I don't think you're being unfair. No, I don't think so at all. I mean, if we think about Sunil Narayan and the experiment, because I think that's what it was initially. You hit a few and you hit them long in the nets, and generally you can strike them quite well. Why don't you go up front and you open and let's see what happens? He does. There's success. I think he's got 50 once up there. He's got a couple of 20s where he just hits the opening bowlers off their length and he gets some runs and gets them to a good start. After doing that 3, 4, 5, 6 times, they all work it out. Okay, so you've decided you're going to bat up there. This is how we're going to bowl at you. Let's look at how successful or unsuccessful he's been over the last 2 IPLs, for instance. He's not given them anything at the top, to be honest. And in this IPL, he has now, with the guys who are bowling really fast, and there have been some, he's been nowhere when it's been quick, right? So here we are, come back into the side. Yes, we'll lengthen it a bit. It means that we go down to number 7 with Pat Cummins in at 7 or maybe further down. But if he does well, good luck to him. But I don't think it's solid thinking.
I think when you analyze his success that he had too, you got to realize that in the RPL, you've got half of your games, 7 of them are at home. And then the times when he made the massive contributions, that wicket at Kolkata was very slow and low and difficult for the fast guys to put you under pressure. So he could just get in there and play his game. And the quicker it came, actually, the better for him. But as Pommie said, I think particularly with his bowling lineup today, I mean, the South Africans would absolutely know what their line and length was going to be if he walks to the crease in those six. I mean, it's you can just say, well, let's throw him out there and see whatever he does. It doesn't really make a difference if he gets out. But I think with their jumbled mindset, the last thing they want is like failure at the top of the order continuously. You know, it's very nice.
Because it probably slows Gill down even more. And there is a problem of strike rate that you're getting with Shubman Gill. And Nitish Rana has not been getting too many runs. So, well, there are problems galore for Kolkata. But I'll tell you one thing which is not a problem for them, and that's Lockie Ferguson. Lockie Ferguson makes his way into the team, pulls those rockets at 145 plus, and of course is on a boost stamina meter. Why will he not be? Because he's putting in the hard yards, isn't he? Who else is putting in the hard yards? There it is. You've got Jofra Archer at the top. No surprise. Virat Kohli. Well, he's not just a run machine. He's a running machine as well. KL Rahul been spending a lot of time. Nokia there as well. But of course, we are today talking about Lockie Ferguson. And the reason why we're talking about him on our boost stamina meter is this. He's taken 4 wickets in 2 games, and also the power play, the super over wickets that he's taken. He's delivering more than half of his deliveries at dot balls and bowling at an average speed of 142 plus. Polly, that's an average speed of 142 plus.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, he's rested up for almost a month and a half. Doing nothing else. So he must be feeling fresh. But you know what really warms my heart about the boost stamina meter is the fact that at the start of the tournament, it was just 10 batsmen. Now have a look how many bowlers are starting to feature. We're making a part that we're coming back at these batsmen. We're not going to be a buffet where they take advantage of us and eat as much as they can. We'll show them we can.
It's just the chance, right? It's just that bowlers only get to bowl 4 overs, whereas a batsman can be there for 20 and just accumulate points, right? That's the difference. I tell you, if they were allowed to bowl more than 4, they'd be up on the meter even higher. But I can't change the rules of cricket, can I? Okay.
It would also be nice. It would also be nice if the skipper would let Lockie Ferguson actually bowl first. How's that in the game? You know, in the previous game, they've got no runs on the board,
and he got 7th over.
Plenty of wicket, and the power play is all gone. The game's done. Then he comes to bowl. I mean, really. Yeah, no way.
But the nice thing about Lockie, and I'm not trying to in any moment say that he's the same as Bumrah, but there's some natural variation to his action. You know, he jumps up from wide, and that leg cutter sort of fits into the action without you being able to pick it. So that's why I think he's burst on and he's been quite successful. And in order for them to succeed in the rest of the tournament going forward, you would think, particularly the teams who haven't come up against him, he'll have a good part to play. So I think it's a good find for them. And, you know, hopefully he goes well.
Who's been really good for Delhi, of course, is Akshar Patel. Is also our My 11 Circle trump card today. You got to keep him in. Look at it. He bowls his overs economically. I mean, he's played 9 matches and he's given less than a run a ball. Any bowler worth their salt, right, would take that in a jiffy, wouldn't they?
Yeah, of course. Oh, of course. And the thing about Delhi, now, we've given you a trump card there, but I reckon we could have picked just about anyone. There's, I reckon, 7, 8 names in the Delhi side that you could give as trump cards on any given day. And that's just as an illustration of the strength of the side and the fact that things have kind of synced quite nicely to have quite a few players who are in form and doing well in the tournament. It's not just from one part of their game that they're dominating sides. In all departments, they have guys doing well. And whether it's pace or it's spin, whether it's taking catches, whether it's batting up front, batting in the middle, batting at the back, they're doing good things. So they're in top form, and their challenge is to keep this sort of form going. And I think what will help is the fact, as Shaun spoke about earlier, is that they've changed their side a few times, whether it's through injury, resting people, or trying things out. I think it will help them just keep them sharp and keep them kind of hungry, as it were.
I have some news for the two of you. I want to see how you react to this. You know, the youth, I have such a problem with the youth and, you know, their lack of morality and just how promiscuous they are. Shubman Gill has his 4th partner for the tournament in Nitish Rana, opening with him today. Nitish Rana and Shubman Gill have just walked out. to open the innings.
Well, what did we say? Jumbled minds. That's what that is.
Well, the only thing you can say, the only thing I can go back to what I mentioned earlier is that if they believe these two are if they believe these are the best two for the next 4 games, and if they do make the knockout, stick with these two. Stop messing it around now. You've tried too much scrambling. You have to settle in on something. So Nareen, you bet number 7 for the rest of the tournament, and you stay in that position. And I think that's how I think. So if this is going to be the plan, stick with it now. You can't go after this game. If it doesn't work, you can't go back. You stick with it.
Pommie's bursting. Pommie's just bursting. I don't get it. What's going on? What's wrong with Tripathi?
You know, what is wrong with Tripathi? That's exactly what I'm going to ask. What is wrong with Tripathi? Like, look through the guy's performances in IPL, whether he is in the colors of Pune, whether he is in the colors of Rajasthan, whether he is in the colors of Kolkata. Where does he score runs? Opening. Only place. He doesn't get you runs anywhere else. Never has. But no. Okay, you know better. Carry on.
Apparently not. Apparently not. We have a Joy Factor question. Of course, Joy tends to write essays on the days that he's not here to read them out, just to give us some extra work. Let's see what he's done today. Has he been kind? Oh, yes, it's just 4 lines. I can do this, Pommie. I can do it. The supporters of which national cricket team identify themselves by a color no longer used by their team? Right. I know this. I think I know this. Do you think it's a green and yellow Australia situation? No. It's not a New Zealand situation, is it? They were brown and then became the Black Caps. I got the answer.
They wear black.
I think it's Papua New Guinea. It's the PNG team. That's right. Go Google it, oh, you little children. Go on, Google it. And send us your answer. Hashtag Cricbuzz Live on Twitter. We're waiting for your answer. Our last piece of business, of course, before we leave, which is to put our guesses in. Kolkata batting first, got 84 the last time they batted first. So what's it going to be today with Delhi on the other side? Do you have faith in South African bowlers? Do you have faith in South African bowlers? Let's see. My 11th circle badge of honor predictions. Kolkata, how many are they going to get?
148.
148. Low ball in it. Low. High ball in it. Low.
Yeah, that's a high ball compared to last game. Okay, I'll go 157.
157. You guys, you're not showing any faith at all. I'm going 165. 165.
That's a massive amount of faith.
That's a lot. That's almost double their score from last time. Yeah, that's how much faith I have in them. I think they're going to do it. I think sometimes when it's all scrambled, you just make beautiful scrambled eggs with truffle. That's what's going to happen today. I'm telling you. We'll see you at the end of the 10th.
Good luck finding the truffle.
Good luck finding the truffle in the desert, right? We're going to see you at the end of the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. A big thank you to our boy band, Pommie and Polly. And it's me, the G-Meister. I can't carry that off. I can't.
No.
No. Hot stepping out of here. See you soon.